All right. All right. What was that?
That's I'm coming up. Isn't that what that tune is? It's now Chic.
No.
I'm coming up.
That is Diana Ross.
Diana Ross, yeah.
Diana Ross.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, now the sound makes sense.
Oh God.
Coffee Talk theme.
All right. Next time we have to do name that tune.
Kathy just said she thought we actually had an official Coffee Talk theme song.
Oh, we do.
And I'm like, wow, maybe we should.
Branding.
Maybe we should write a song.
We could.
Maybe we should have our own jingle.
We should. We should do it like totally pro production, like what Jason Shepard does for Zedata.
Yeah.
Right?
Jason
Yeah, we
Shepard,
could
man,
totally do that.
That guy is medieval.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So where are you guys headed? Looks like you guys are traveling.
We are beginning the road trip. In fact, maybe we'll see Bill possibly in Texas.
What?
It could happen.
Oh, no way.
What?
Yeah.
Bill, say hi.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Yes.
Yes.
Tell him 30 days for 30 years.
All right. It's our 30-year anniversary, and we're going to be on the road for 30 days, seeing friends and family all over the place.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Awesome.
Thank you.
That is so killer.
Pretty cool. So right now, initially, I mean, we're driving. We just crossed over the Cascade Mountains and heading in Eastern Washington, but we're going to kind of do what I did a few months ago. Gonna go do Antelope Canyon there in northern Arizona, and then we're gonna scoot on over and do our anniversary kind of weekend in Santa Fe, because we love Santa Fe a lot. And we're gonna see some friends in Tulsa, heading down to Dallas, and dad's in Dallas and family there. We got sister in Waco, Texas. We got Bill and everybody else in Austin. We got mom and tons of friends and family in Houston. We're going to go to Florida. We're going to go to Key West. We're going to go to Cape Canaveral, do the NASA tour.
Really?
At Kennedy. Yeah, totally.
Oh, wow. This is like cross country.
Oh, yeah.
Big time cross country.
Wow.
Yeah.
But aren't you going to stop by Bandera, Texas and hang out with Stephanie?
You never know. We might. We could hit Bandera.
We'd like to do that.
Could do that. You never know.
Could do that.
We head down to Austin or out towards our ranch near Fredericksburg. We're not.
Oh, that's awesome. So that means you guys are you guys gonna cruise through Alabama, Sweet Home Alabama?
Absolutely, we are. We're going through Alabama.
Oh,
Yeah. We'll go through Louisiana and Mississippi and Alabama, on into Florida, and then then we'll, as we're done with Key West, we'll scoot back up the Atlantic coast, do Cocoa Beach. We'll do Kennedy for a day. We'll do Charleston. We'll do Savannah.
Yeah.
We're gonna go see family in Durham, North Carolina. We're gonna see friends in Indianapolis.
Oh wow!
Who knows? It sounds crazy, doesn't it?
It's
almost like you guys are going to be having a like a wine flight of different types of heat wave climates.
Yes.
So you have dry extreme heat and some humid extreme heat, and in the desert, in the friggin' forest, it's going to be awesome, right?
Crazy.
I'm going to assume that as soon as we get out of this special Goldilocks zone we call the Pacific Northwest, where it stays, we will be in extreme heat the entire time. Yeah. Actually, Santa Fe is cool. Actually,
cold and raining.
Yeah, Santa Fe is nice and cool, actually.
No,
good. Yeah, because I just got back from Phoenix. It was hot and dry.
Oh yeah,
and
got those misters going on everywhere.
Yeah, you gotta water that hot air.
Water that hot air. So
yeah, because it's going to feed your family.
Yeah.
I love that. I love what Rick posted. I mean, the essence of it is you chose to live in a friggin' desert. Deal with it. Don't be watering the air. I mean, come on. We need it in California so that we can grow food, and
we've got more than we need up here.
Do you know what's interesting? While so many parts are hurting, we had 3 times the snowpack up in Washington in the Northwest.
Wow.
Skiing month and a half later.
Skiing just shut down like a couple of weeks ago.
Wow.
No way.
Yeah. And so
awesome.
So
June on.
Yeah. In fact, it's hurting some agriculture because it's delaying planting and because they're not expecting it to be so cool and wet late in the game.
Yeah.
So,
but that has its plus and minuses. It has like its upside and downside, right? Because when you get too much and you've had most of your terrain, ravaged by fire, it creates mudslides.
That's right.
So,
and it's depressing.
Yeah,
yes.
That's the crap thing about all this climate volatility.
Yeah, totally. It's interesting. I saw some article last night where someone's like, hey, maybe we should divert the Mississippi River to the Colorado River, which then feeds you in California, Phoenix, and Nevada.
Oh.
And I'm like, yeah, I remember writing that article like 10 years ago, except more up North California, and it's easier to divert it to you guys. Of course, I'm sure a lot of people, I know actually decades ago, they floated the idea of diverting the Columbia River to California. Because it's bizarre. It's like, I don't want to say we have unlimited water up here, but it's just so wet and there's so many rivers.
Yeah. Yeah.
But certainly not as far to go as the Mississippi River.
Yeah. But I mean, as of late, you guys have had some pretty crazy weather as well, right? So it's been dry. It's been really friggin' hot. I mean, geez. You guys have like, the temperatures that Bill's dealing with right now,
that's right.
Without the humidity, right? What's it like? Huh?
Last summer. Yeah, we had this weird heat spike at the very end of June last summer where it was getting to like 116 and just stuff that's it's never been that way in recorded history.
Yeah, and you guys don't even have air conditioning, right?
No.
A lot of you guys don't have air conditioning.
No.
You guys have a legitimate reason to complain. Because that wasn't part of the deal of living up there, right? It's like, we don't live in a desert, so we don't, this whole sprinkling and watering the air, hot air BS, that doesn't apply to you guys. You guys, if you guys were sprinkling hot air, watering hot air, we'd give you a pass on that stuff.
Yeah. It was a long time ago, I guess early 2000s, my business partner, Darren, when we had our mobile device management company, and we were having our exit, actually. We sold it to a software company in Scottsdale. And I remember the two of us flew out there for meetings with them. I remember Darren looking out the window of the plane as we're landing in Phoenix. He's like, this looks like Tatooine.
Most likely.
Yeah. And then they take us to nice restaurants. We're sitting outside, and they had the misters up in the palm trees to keep us cool. Because it was 1,000 degrees outside,
Oh, yeah. Well, so here's the thing. If you live in a desert, don't eat outside.
That's brilliant.
Wow.
Right?
That's profound.
I mean, why eat outside? I don't understand, because you go to a restaurant and say, would you like to be seated outside or inside? I actually wanted to sit outside because I wanted to get a little bit baked, and then not baked in that way, but, kind of toasted. and then walk into the hotel air conditioning and go, wow, this feels really refreshing. You know, like how you have those Scandinavian dudes like jumping into like the ice water and they come back out and they jump back into the sauna, that type of thing, right? But then you have these friggin' misters that blew the whole experience, man. They're like, and I'm like looking at this thing going, man, it's like, if you're gonna sit outside because you want to enjoy the ridiculously hot air and temperatures. But if not, take your ass indoors, you know? You got air conditioning. You can just look out the window and enjoy outdoors, you know?
Yeah,
It doesn't make any sense. And then they have these gigantic houses, man. Massive houses.
Yeah.
And they're not even 2-story. They're like 1 story. And then the Uber driver that I was with, he was like telling me, oh, yeah, you know, they're massive houses and they usually have about 1 or 2 people living in these things. I'm like, wow, you want to talk about serious waste of energy, you know? And then
you're right. Most of the houses are 1 story around there. Well, a lot of people retire into that area and they want a 1-story house.
But also 1 story means you're not wasting.
You know what? I do totally get people love to eat outside when the weather gets nice.
Yeah.
And so I think they're trying to create the illusion. I've heard people say that Tucson embraces the fact they live in the desert and they're more natural but Phoenix is deluded and pretends that they're not actually living in a desert. And they're creating an illusion for themselves.
You know what they are? They're like Southern Californians who are like reluctantly moved out to the desert, and they're trying to bring they're trying to preserve the California lifestyle in a friggin' desert.
Yeah.
So if you want to eat outside, just come to Southern California. Our outdoors are nice.
Yes. Yes. Well,
it's a lot more expensive there, though.
But Leonard, you live in one of those. You live in a Goldilocks zone called San Diego.
Yeah.
Which is magical, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a you know what, and that's what I was telling when I was in Phoenix for the Honeywell Hug thing for smart buildings. That's what I was telling everybody there, and they goes, "Oh yeah, you live in San Diego?" Goes, "Yeah, I love to travel out here because then when I get back home, I get to appreciate how nice it is where I live, and I don't have to be stuck in a place like Phoenix." Getting like friggin' sprinkled everywhere.
Did you know that Phoenix is now the 5th largest city in America?
I wouldn't be surprised, dude. It's like massive.
It's like right behind Houston.
Big.
It's just it's booming, and it's kind of like Houston. It sprawls everywhere,
Yeah.
Yeah, or like LA, it just goes on forever.
And golf courses everywhere.
Golf courses are everywhere.
Speaking of water.
But luckily, golf courses don't need water, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the myth.
How are things at Dripping Springs, Bill?
Yeah. You know what? Temperature-wise, weather-wise, it's great. It's like it's been in the low 90s with very little humidity.
That's what's
awesome.
Very little humidity. I love it.
That's nice.
Me too.
And things are progressing along. House isn't done yet.
That's what I was wondering.
Not done yet. It's Cathy.
That's what I was wondering.
Kathy,
Was how far along your house is.
We're about 2 to 2.5 months out.
Okay. All
right. That's cool.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So but other than that, it's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. Should Cathy and I check out Dripping Springs as a possible destination to move to?
Uh-oh. Say that again, because you broke up pretty bad.
Yeah, no, that's true. I'm on the road. Yeah, should Cathy and I look at Dripping Springs as a possible destination to move to?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Unequivocally.
Well, then that's pretty definitive there. I like that.
Yes.
You're a fan.
I mean, look, we've been around. We have a lot of people that have moved from the Bay Area up here. So we've gone to their house, and, they always ask, so where are you guys at? And we're like Dripping Springs. And they're like, oh, whenever you hear that, it's a good thing.
I think you said you have fiber optic out there.
Yeah.
That's why you sound so good.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
And why you sound so bad.
Yeah. Nice.
But I mean, it's the funny thing is we're one of those households, right? I mean, it's a decent sized house. There's only 3 of us, me, my wife, and my daughter. But solar, storage, the whole shop.
Oh, yeah.
Love
right?
it.
Yeah, but you're Bill Pugh. That like goes without saying, dude. I don't even know why you like trying to pretend like you're gonna impress somebody by saying that. That's like, it's like if you didn't do it, we would be shocked.
Right.
Mr. Smart City.
I mean, come on.
Live, walk your talk.
Yes,
exactly.
You gotta walk your talk.
Yeah.
If you got the sun, why wouldn't you?
So, Bill, hopefully you guys saw I put a little tiny video out showing digital twin progress and the platform I'm building.
I saw that.
It's getting real, man. It's getting real.
Cool. Right on.
I saw it. So is your stuff up on? Is it, you got a GitHub repository?
Everybody has a
I don't have anything public right now, but yeah, I'll put it up there so you can grab the bits.
That's what I want.
Yeah. Absolutely. I know we've been talking about twins for a long time, and now it's really coming together. And so, cool. Making good progress. It's like, you know what? I think I've got enough progress. I'll make a little short video building a twin model prototype. But it's always fun when you put stuff on the internet.
Well, I mean, we got some real areas where we could apply it. I mean, like I said, the work that I'm doing with Purdue University out there, that's a real thing. I love the posts when people jump on the posts that you guys put out. I'm like a troll. I wait for them to say something, and then I'm like, I kind of soften it up a bit by saying, in my humble opinion. But what I really want to say is
not humble, dude.
Yeah.
Friggin' arrogant bastard. No, just kidding.
I definitely had a couple of trolls commenting on there.
I saw that. I loved your response that, look, I'm really not interested in what the late to the game digital twin consortium is trying to say. I'm like, hell yeah.
Exactly. I tell you, if Rick Bellotta, he would jump on there because he hates these. And some of us, especially Rick, inventing ThingWorks.
Yeah.
We were way before all these organizations who think they're authoritative on building digital twins. They're super late to the party. But yes, you see someone who actually hasn't built anything in their lives, and they're like, well, according to this ISO standard, I don't know if this is actually a twin or what. It's like, whatever, dude.
Yeah. It's like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. And then Leonard, you just threw a softball out there. Like when the guy was talking about, the grid, and I'm like, here we go again.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I think I'm like, you can't just run around and arbitrarily augment the existing failing grid by just building microgrids everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot. When somebody posted, it's not about the technology, it really, a lot of it boils down to just, dude, cutting through the dirty laundry, man. It's like when I was at this Honeywell conference, it's just dirty laundry everywhere in terms of like the problems. Do you know what I'm saying? And so you can have all these great ideas, but there's so much stuff that you have to plow through to even make room for these solutions. It's not even funny. it's just really not that funny.
Well,
and so,
it boils down to who is the holder of the data. And
right.
all of these BMS, so all of them, I'll call them out: Schneider, Honeywell, ABB, all of them that want to control an entire building and are saying that we're going to use this standard protocol called BACnet, which is a serial protocol in essence. And then they go, well, it's BACnet over IP now. And I'm like, I don't care how you skin it. I don't care what tunnel you put it in. It's still a serial interface that is proprietary based on implementation. So if you are the BMS provider, you're the one that holds that data.
Right. But again, but that's like dirty laundry, right? But the thing is that, where, the discussions I got in with a number of people, even with the Honeywell folks who recognize that some of the customers, the hard ass ones will push for interoperability. You have all these people that go around and say it has to be open, it has to be standard based to be interoperable. It's like, no, you just need to have somebody who has the guts to cut through and force vendors to, clear enough of the dirty laundry so they get what they want and have interoperability in their portfolio. So interoperability has always been, the responsibility of the end user and their it is expressed in their technology strategy and their governance around architecture. So if it's an EA or enterprise architect or a CTO or what have you, they're the ones that make interoperability happen. It's not anyone else. Do you know what I'm saying? And so that's where I think a lot of open movements are supremely misguided. They try to make it about the vendor. It's not about the vendor. Standards-based interoperability just makes it easier, right? But it's the end user that has to clear the doo-doo out of the way so that they get an easier button. It's never going to be easy. It never happens. It's not even easy on the IT side. And they've been.
I'm ready to fire a photon torpedo at all those industrial protocols. I'm done. There's hundreds of them, and they're all technically a standard, yes, but they're BS standards. They're just like Bill said. They're based on serial protocols. You know what? All of us on the IT side of the house figured this stuff out decades ago. Yeah. With things called Ethernet and TCP/IP and just standard stuff that the whole internet works based on. The web. It needs to be easy as the web if you want massive adoption, if you want hyper interoperability and hyper automation. And so it's time to blow up all those things. It was like I was on the industrial podcast with some guys last week, and I was like, yeah, I've got a Mark 48 torpedo coming, PLCs, buddy. It's called a Raspberry Pi. All that stuff, making people do some kind of weird ladder logic that no one's ever heard of for PLCs. That it's like, no, it's just a computer. But people try to make things harder than it has to be, and it doesn't have to be that way. And I'm done. Right. Why is it so hard for me to check into a hotel? I'm done. Why is it so hard for me to pick up a rental car at the airport? I'm done. We're blowing it all up, man.
It has to be. It has to be made simple. And I mean, I'm listening. So I've been doing a lot of reading this week and listening to. I think IoT Slam was going on. So I was kind of listening in on that, and they were citing some use cases. One city was saying, "Hey, look, we turned our college campus into an innovation lab," and I'm like, "Yeah, microcosm of a city, got it." But the one thing that I heard from that I said, thank you, because somebody is actually now saying the things that we've been saying for the longest. All of these vertically integrated solutions, every single OEM, every single solution provider says, oh, we have a dashboard for that. All right, so then if you look at the use cases that sit within a city or the utility space or anything like that, and the number of applications that are required, you're going to wind up with 150 different dashboards. It's unnecessary.
Or a single dashboard that gets like a gajillion alerts every second, you know?
Yeah.
Information overload, you know?
Yeah. The fact that they're now talking about that, I'm like, okay, that part is cool. But we are still no closer to a true smart grid and a true smart city than we were 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah, and it's like what we've talked about on IoT Coffee Talk for ages, even though we've been only doing this crap for like 2 years, is that closed loop, the automation piece, right? So the dashboard isn't enough. In fact, dashboards will freak the crap out of people because they get to, I mean, transparency has its downside. It comes with a lot of details because there's a lot of problems out there that you couldn't see. Now you see it, right? But when events happen, incidents happen, how do you automate the certain types of responses, whether it's from a security perspective, it's ops perspective, it's from a, you know, a sustain, whatever your objectives are, whatever that purpose is for the smart city or smart building function you're looking at. But that, and you know, that was something that it was a question I asked one of the Qualcomm partners that had put that city dashboard up, right? And my first impression was like, holy crap, there's a lot of red up there. It's like, so now what happens? And how many people do you now? You have one dashboard that makes you crap your pants, and then you're going to have a bunch of other dashboards where you're going to be triaging this stuff up down to people who can actually make some of those red dots green, you know?
Yeah.
And I wonder what happens on that city dashboard that one time each year when they do the purge.
What do you mean?
Never mind.
Oh, the purge. Are you talking about the movie?
Yeah. Yeah.
God.
Everything goes red.
Oh, yeah. You know what you do? Here's a nice thing about dashboards. You can filter. You take the safety filter off, safety security.
You're turning that off for 24 hours.
And you just focus on water. Make sure that everybody has water.
Make sure you have a safe room at your house, too.
Yeah.
They're coming for you.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love it the way, I mean, everything is by perspective, right? As opposed to literally stepping out there. And you get, if you step out and you actually tell the truth, now you got people attacking you because how dare you tell everyone that this stuff is not really here?
Yeah. But it's important to have that debate. And, you know, a lot of these folks who do these open initiatives try to create standards. It's like, well, what good is your standard? I think you guys kind of suggested it earlier. What's good your standard if, you know, there's only 12 of you dudes like complying with it or even believing in it and subscribing to it and implementing it, right? And then there's like 1,000 others.
What's the benefit of standards?
Yeah. Do you know how
standards hinder?
Isn't it interesting how grassroots standards will come out of nowhere and just beat down big standards consortium? For instance, does anyone remember back in, it started probably 98, 99, and then through the early 2000s, the whole SOAP and XML thing. And then you had, everybody was all in because it was like, okay, here's how we can pass messages to remote procedure calls in a standardized way because of magical XML. And you had all these standards bodies. They built all these different things that SOAP would do, transactional SOAP, a billion different things. But then somewhere out of nowhere, Dr. Roy Fielding just wrote his paper on REST and just using the normal verbs of HTTP. And it's amazing. After all the hard work all those bodies did, REST just blew SOAP out of the water because it was just the basics of how the web and the internet works. And again, that's how I feel about all these ridiculous industrial standards.
Yeah.
And all these other standards bodies who spend all their time making companies pay $100,000 a year to put their logo on their website so that they can sit around and talk about, and that's how they set the standard. And then something grassroots comes out of nowhere because it's just not practical and blows them out of the water. Boom.
Yeah. I think you get into more and more trouble as you go up the stack. Do you know what I'm saying? If you try to create a standard definition for an object or let's say asset definitions or ontology and all this stuff, I mean, you really start to get to a point where you're boiling the ocean. You're so far departed from what's actually out there. And the bigger problem is what's already out there. You're wanting to talk to the brownfield, and your standards are doing nothing to really help that problem, right? And I think that's where, standards work, I think, at a lower level, where, you don't get into as many of the weird debates that you do when you're starting to argue about, well, how should a particular auto part, maybe a carburetor, be defined? Then all of a sudden you have all these vendors fighting over, well, whose definition is better, because they're actually referencing their brownfield stuff and saying, well, crap, if I subscribe to this dude's definition, that means I have to revisit my APIs and my service definitions. And then that's where it gets all wacky.
Yeah.
And irrelevant, because you just use middleware, a little translation layer, to just freaking broker all that shit. You know what I'm saying? That's how it's always been.
It's funny because, I mean, so at that point, right, you go standards and then protocols that support those standards. And so, the notion of using a protocol translation or any layer that kind of fits there is somewhat rebuked by others, because now you're inserting yourself for a purpose, right? Which I mean, I'm like, look, there's enough of the pie for everyone, and there is no such thing as one throat to choke. This whole thing has been blown up tremendously by the notion of one throat to choke, and I'm going to be the solution provider to wield the Excalibur sword, and I'm going to take everything over. No, we're not having that anymore. And it's, at the end of the day, I think you're right in that it's up to the end users to actually mandate what open means, what interoperability really means. And I mean, because look at the standards, look at the protocols that are, the consortiums create the protocols, or working groups create the protocols, and then they support these standards. Look at the names of those companies that are there. Those are the ones that are sitting in the working group sessions saying, yes, I vote for this.
Yeah.
Look at things like Zigbee, Z-Wave, and all of those other smart home protocols that have since, some of them have changed their names.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if I change my name, you won't know who I am, and I can go over here and continue my work.
Yeah.
It's just wild to me. It's just, it's wild.
Wow. You know what? Not to interrupt this great conversation, but I saw a little message pop up here on my smartphone from that same woman from Telefonica that I sent you guys pictures of yesterday. How I had two different, maybe real, maybe fake women from Telefonica asking me the exact same questions, the same phrases, the same words and everything. And it was like, are they bots?
I would not be surprised.
Or really thoughtless, Are they just cut and paste?
They're just copy and pasting. They're like, here's what you're supposed to say. Yeah. They have it written down on a piece of paper, and it's just like, oh my gosh. Of course, we get that all the time. All the ridiculous emails.
Yeah.
Hey, I see your giant company is doing blah blah blah. It looks like we're in the same business. We're both in the life insurance business, and I think we should get together. It's like, what are you talking about? It's like PC load letter. Oh.
No, my favorite is, it's like I see that you want to advance your career. We have a nursing, a school for nurses, and you can, get certified and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, how does that have
sign me up for that.
to do with me? Yeah, it's just, yeah.
Or the one that I get all the time is, hey, heard you're looking for software developers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, really? I'm like, were you just listening in on my conversation? You know what? I actually am looking for software developers, but you don't know the ones I'm looking for.
Exactly. The ones I'm looking for are not working at your sweatshop.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's crazy.
It is crazy.
Wow. It is getting really annoying how these guys are just. I don't understand why they think this works, because it doesn't. I mean, I haven't responded to any of those types of marketing. Those marketing efforts. It's just super annoying. In fact, we probably think less of Telefonica for resorting to that kind of marketing. Like, this is beneath you, or is this you?
No, that is them.
Yeah,
that's their step towards digital transformation.
Yeah, and then maybe these consulting firms, these strategy consulting firms that are so enamored with digital and this and that should think twice about recommending their customers for the sake of automation and getting rid of people, that you stick these freaking bots out there that actually create negative brand impression. The more this stuff we get that has your brand on it, the less we think of you. In fact, we might actually eventually just hate your brand. It's like, oh my God, these guys again, screw this noise. Because it's freaking lazy. You're not building a relationship. And so if your consultant is telling you this is a great way to get your net, your whatever, what's that score? The NPV score up.
Oh, yeah. The net promoter score.
Yeah. Fire that consultant. Fire that marketing agency, because
I think I'm gonna.
It's not true.
Since I took a screenshot photo of the other person from Telefonica, I think I'm going to reply to this woman actually by pasting that photo as my reply to her.
Go ask her.
Oh my God.
Go ask her.
My previous response.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, at some point the silliness has to stop, right? And somebody's got to just tell it like it is. So.
Well, I mean, people are using LinkedIn as their new cold calling mechanism.
Yeah. No,
Man.
Yeah. I mean, for that effort, you're actually annoying the crap out of people. No one, what's your conversion rate on that stuff? So for the 0.1% of people who actually click through and talk to you, you've pissed off more than 90% of the people that you've reached out to.
Exactly.
Wow, that's genius.
That is so well put, Leonard.
Huh?
That's so well put, because they focus on, we have a 1% or a 10% conversion rate. But you're right. What they're missing out on is the 95% I hate you rate.
Yeah. Dude, you coined a new thing, man. It's like we'll call it the net piss off. Yeah, your people score.
Oh my God.
Friggin'. And it's the inverse of your net promoter score. So
so wait a minute. So you literally are using a pissed off score. So you are representing the POS in the best way possible.
Yes.
Got it.
Exactly.
Oh my God. See, this is the genius that comes out of IoT Coffee Talk. I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you, you go to Asia. What do they do after work? They go out and they drink, right? And and some of the best ideas come out of a bunch of drunk people just talking crap.
Yes, that's me in Tokyo drinking sake.
Oh yeah, you don't even understand. You'll sit there and more often than not, you're talking about work or a problem, and then someone makes a stupid comment and it ends up being the answer to the problem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not joking.
Yeah.
And so these people who basically talk trash about face-to-face interaction, blah, blah, blah. Oh, innovations and answers are sourced in some of the weirdest places, right? For Rob, it's the shower. For me, it's the toilet. For other people, it's just getting drunk with their friends somewhere in like the basement of a club in Tokyo, right?
Boom.
Boom. For Bill.
Yeah, it's as random as life is.
It's on LinkedIn.
I'm sure that some magic will happen soon. I'm sure like Bill and Cathy and I will be somewhere having margaritas and queso dip or something and fajitas and some kind of magic. Hey Bill, is the Oasis still open in Austin? Is that still a thing? Or have you checked that out?
I haven't checked that out. I'm gonna have to check that out. I'll check that out this weekend.
I think it burned down like decades ago, but I think they rebuilt it. But it was like kind of on the cliff there, looking over, I guess, Lake Travis. It was, because I used to live in Austin a million years ago before it was super cool.
And it had multiple decks. People went to.
It was it was a great place to go, and everybody would clap when the sun set. Everybody would do a standing ovation when the sun would set over the lake.
Yep, it's on Lake Travis. It's open. Oh, but Jiminy Cricket, they only have a 2.5-star rating.
Oh, but it's so much fun.
Oh, you know what? Don't even believe that.
It's not about the food.
No, it clearly is about the view.
Yeah. You know what?
It's the view.
They have some places that have great food, great whatever, but yeah, bad service.
Garth Brooks always talking on down.
Got friends in low places.
I'm so glad that I've got my Coffee Talk friends in low places.
That's right.
Okay, guys, yep. I got a mosey to OC, but it was fun chatting with you guys. But before we leave, I want to tell you,
absolutely,
I am a non-self-proclaimed 5G expert.
Oh, that's right. Congratulations on that, dude. I'm like,
I have no idea how that happened.
I'm like, you guys are like in the top 10 thought leaders in IoT. You are Mr. 5G.
He's like Mr. IoT early. And everything. Yeah, we're like friggin', this group, we're friggin' techno thuggery.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Awesome.
So funny. So
you're hanging out with Peter Linder there, aren't you?
What?
That's awesome. I said you're hanging out with Peter Linder there, man.
That dude is a comedian, man. He's great.
He's great. He's a nice guy. We need to have him on sometime. He's kind of like us. He tries to make the hard things understandable to people, which is great.
Yeah. Well, the thing is his humor is distracting, though.
Yes, I did like it last year or 2 years ago. He did a video where he was basically bringing the Swedish chef.
Uh-huh.
That was real humor because a lot of people remember that from the Muppets.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I love you, Peter. Much love.
Yeah, we love you, Peter. All right. So to our IoT Coffee Talk fans, thanks for hanging out with us this far. Hopefully you made it this far. And, we really appreciate your Patreon, your interest in the show. We'll see you next week, but make sure that you punch the like button, the share button, whatever buttons they have. I heard they have a bell or something like that. Just push all the good buttons, and we will see you next week. And remember, IoT Coffee Talk at www.iotcoffeetalk.com, but you probably already know because you're watching the show. And that was a rhyme.
Yeah.
I'm a rapper, guys. Freaking so much talent. It's like
just sitting there. Just sitting there.
All right, guys. Take care.
Yes.
Drive carefully.
See you later.
Later.
Bye.